Now, we know how to factor an algebraic expression in general. So, we know factoring by factoring out the greatest common factor, we know factoring by grouping, we know factoring trinomials. Now, there are some special type of algebraic expression which can be factored by using some formula. So, I will call it some important formula, and I will show you how we can use this formula to factor some algebraic expression. Well, the first formula says if you have square of a quantity minus square of another quantity, sometimes they call difference of two squares, square of A minus square of B, A squared minus B squared, difference of two square, can be written as A minus the B times A plus B. So, the difference of two square is the product of difference and sum of the two quantities. So, this is a formula. It is always better to remember the formula. By the way, you can consider A squared minus B squared as a trinomial and apply the same process of factoring as we did before. However, if you remember this formula, you will be saving time. So, let us see one example of use of this formula. Suppose I want to factor 25 x squared minus 49 y squared. Okay. Now, if I look at this expression, I am trying to factor this, okay, factor this. If I want to factor this, if I look at this expression, immediately I realize the first quantity is nothing more than square of 5x. 25 x square is nothing more than square of 5x. Similarly, 49 y square is nothing more than square of 7y. 49 is the square of 7, y squared is the square of y, so 49 y squared is the square of 7y. Immediately you realize this is a square of a quantity minus square of another quantity. If you have a square of quantity minus square of another quantity, and if you remember this formula, we are done. See, for this expression, A is equal to 5x and B is equal to 7y. So, I will just write in that formula format, A is 5x minus B is 7y, A minus B times A is 5x plus B is 7y times 7y. Factoring is done. Well, by the way, you can use the trick of the process of factoring trinomials to factor this with what you have to do is take the product equal to 25 times 49 and the sum is 0. There is nothing in the middle, so the sum is 0, product is 25 times 49, it is a big number. So, you need to find two factors of 25 times 49 whose sum is, oh by the way, 25 times negative 49, because here is negative 49, 25 times negative 49, I don't want to think it is a big number. So, you need to factor that big number into two factors so that the sum equal to 0 and use the process of factoring trinomials as before. And you might see if you use this technique, probably it will take a longer amount of time. So, it is better to remember this formula and use it immediately. Square of A minus square of B is equal to A minus B times A plus B. So, square A in this example is 5x, B in this example is 7y, square of 5x minus square of 7y is 5x minus 7y times 5x plus 7y. Okay, so this is example of difference of 2 square. Now, some algebraic expression, they come as difference of 2 cubes, cube of a quantity minus cube of the another quantity. There is a formula to factor difference of 2 cubes also. If you have a difference of 2 cubes, the formula is this: a minus b, the first quantity minus the second quantity, times square of the first quantity plus the first quantity and the second quantity and plus square of the second quantity. This is the formula that can be used to factor an expression which is in the form of cube of one quantity minus the cube of another quantity. Okay. What do I mean by this? Let's look at one example. Suppose I want to factor 8x cubed minus 27. Factor 8x cubed minus 27. If I know this formula, if you know this formula, you will immediately realize this expression is nothing more than cube of 2x. 8 is cube of 2, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and x cubed is x times x times x. So I can write x cubed as 2x cubed, 2x the quantity cube, and minus 27 is cube of 3. So you can observe now this expression is a to the cube minus b to the cube, where a is 2x and b is 3. A cubed minus b cubed with a is 2x and b is 3. So in order to factor it, I'll simply apply this formula, and according to this formula I should have a minus b, a is 2x, b is 3, times square of a. Square of a is the square of 2x, 2x squared, plus a times b is 2x times 3, plus b squared is square of 3. As soon as I identify a and b, it's just plugging in a and b in the right place in the formula. So now let us do one more thing. 2x minus 3 is 2x minus 3. Square of 2x square is 4x squared. Square of 2x times 3 is 6x. And square of 3 square is 9. So this expression is factored into this. Well, I'll encourage you check if this factoring is correct or not. In order to check, you will have to multiply this with this, and if you see if you get the question back. Let me quickly check. 2x times 4x square is 8x cubed, that looks fine. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27, that looks fine. Now 2x times 6x is 12x square. Minus 3 times 4x square is 12x square, they will cancel it out. 2x times 9 is positive 18x. Negative 3 times 6x is negative 18x, looks okay to me. Check it yourself. Okay, another important formula worth remembering, I would say, is sum of two cubes, cube of a plus cube of b. Cube of a plus cube of b. We looked at the difference of two cubes. Now we will look at the sum of the two cubes. A cube plus b cube is given by a plus b and square of a minus ab plus b square. Notice something interesting in these two formula. It is better to realize the difference in the two formula we just work. When we have cube of a minus cube of b, the first factor is a minus b. When we have cube of a plus cube of b, the first factor is a plus b. Look at the change in the sign, okay? difference of 2 cube minus in the first factor a minus b, sum of 2 cubes plus in the first factor a plus b. Now if you look at the second factor, a square plus ab plus b square, if this is minus, this quantity ab will be plus. If this is plus, the quantity ab will be minus. See, here is minus ab. Observe the interesting change in the sign when we go from the difference of 2 cubes to the sum of 2 cubes. That's realizing the change in sign is very important, by the way, to remember the formula. Okay. Now let's look at an example. Again, we want to factor, let's say 125 x to the third minus 8 y to the plus 8 y to the third. So we want to factor this, 125 x to the third plus 8 y to the third. Well, suddenly we realized that 125 is cube of 5, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, x to the third, and 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, so this is 2 times y to the third. So it is a cube plus b cubed exactly in this format. A is 5x, b is 2y. If I remember this formula, the factoring this problem is piece of cake. Just plug in a and b in the right place. So a plus b, 5x plus 2y, square of 5x is 25x squared minus 5x times 2y, 5 times 2 is 10, x times y is 10xy, 5 times 2 is 10, x times y, and square of b, which is 2y, 2y square is 4y squared. Square of 2y is 4y squared. So the factoring is done. So by now, if you have been watching previous lectures, by now we know how to factor any algebraic expression in general, and well, take the greatest common factor, make a group. There are several different strategies, several different processes that can be followed to factor. Factoring is a very important concept, so people have worked on factoring for long and developed many methods of factoring. And we have seen, if we have trinomials, we have a special technique of factoring trinomials, important process of factoring trinomials. And sometimes if the algebraic expression is in the special format of, like in the form of a cube minus b cube, in the form of a cube plus b cube, and in the form of a square minus b square, then we can factor them using these formula as well. However, one interesting thing I would like you guys to note in case of this formula is this. See, we have a formula for a square minus b square. We have a formula for a cube minus b cube, and we have a formula for a cube plus b cube. However, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to call it, we do not have any formula, no formula to factor, no formula to factor a squared plus b squared. In fact, sum of 2 squared cannot be factored. So there is no formula for a squared plus b squared. So for example, if I tell you factor 25 x squared plus square of some another quantity, let us say whatever 16, this itself is in fact a prime algebraic expression. If there is an algebraic expression which cannot be factored, we call it prime algebraic expression. Similar to number, if there is a number which we cannot factor, we call it a prime number. 5 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number, 11 is a prime number. However, 16 can be factored, 4 times 4 is 16, so can be factored, 16 is a composite number. Similarly, if there is an algebraic expression which can be factored, sometimes we can call it composite algebraic expression, and if there is an algebraic expression which cannot be factored, we call it prime algebraic expression. So, this is a prime algebraic expression. By the way, in terms of prime algebraic expression, in case of trinomials, if this trinomials 8x square minus 10x minus 3 is a composite algebraic expression, and our job was to factor it into prime factor. 2x minus 3 is a prime factor. There is no more further factoring possible. 4x plus 1 is another prime factor. No more further factoring is possible. Okay, so this much for today. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.